Hey, what it do? Welcome to Fandom Frequency, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, whether that's horror, whether that's anime, whether that's wrestling. We talk about it around these parts. Make sure you're clicking all those buttons below the video, showing that love and joining this awesome, positive community today, where we like to discuss all the stuff that we love the most in the world of fandom itself. I'm your host, Will, joined by my co host, my partner in crime, Skips right there, man.
Oh yeah.
And we're coming at y'all once again with another recap slash spoiler review slash discussion slash of
It
the
goes
new
on
Star
and
Wars
on.
series, Ahsoka, episode 4. It's like Game of Thrones, dude. Like just naming like 10 names for one person. King
Yeah.
of the Andals, 10 people in the First Men, ruler of the people,
It's like
leader of the Homo sapien,
it's like dude.
ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, firstborn to the king of his name, with the mother of childbirth. But
Childbirth.
yeah,
Dude,
episode
imagine being in
4.
that crowd in that.
Yeah,
I'll be falling
exactly.
asleep if I do. Just get on with it. It's fucking
God
too
damn it,
fucking
we get
long.
it. He's king.
He's just
Hurry
the
up.
king. To say he's the king, will go on with whatever the
Off with
fuck.
his head. No, literally, off with his
Oh,
head.
oh
But
my god.
for reals, I got Game of Thrones in the brain for other reasons.
Mm.
Can't discuss that here. But we're gonna be talking about the 4th episode of Ahsoka. Been a lot of discussion going on, flying around online on the X, on the
Yeah.
Instagrams, on the TikToks. You know what I'm saying? All the
Mm-hmm.
people out there in the fandom community discussing this thing. We've been discussing it every week, every Wednesday. I want to know what you're feeling about this episode overall, my friend.
As for myself, I thought it was a pretty good, solid, pretty good episode. I didn't mind it. There was only like I would say at one point where there was a lot of controversy with like what happens at towards like the end of the episode with Sabine, which
Oh yeah, cliffhanger.
which was like that whole cliffhanger, but also like people like having that engagement of why she would give the orb to pretty much to
Oh, was
Balin.
Sabine?
So yeah, it's with Sabine with like Balin, and then we finally know the apprentice's name, which is Sheen, and why she pretty much gave it up, and why thinking it was a dumb move, which I understand at that point too. But I think like if you watch like the Rebel show, like that's I think that's the thing. Like if the relationship of like why she wants to have Ezra, like to finally get Ezra back, if there's a chance, she's willing to do it. So I know there's like arguments for both sides. So
Of
there was
what? She
like
wouldn't do that, or that
yeah.
doesn't make sense and
Yeah,
all
that
that.
yeah, they're saying like it's like another point to just like leap on to like bringing Thrawn over. I mean, they obviously had to do it like that way because of Thrawn, because this whole point of
Right.
it is Thrawn. But I think it's also with Sabine being like having that like that very tight connection of having Ezra come back, because even after all these years, it still haunts her. Like she still misses her best friend at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's a
Yep.
chance for her to get him back, then she's willing to do it. And also Balin also having like using his like manipulation with like the power of the Force, using that to his advantage is like a whole other thing. But I know there was like that point, and then there was like another point too of I think there was like some talks like with Anakin, like they liked it, but there was like also some stuff about people talking about like using like the CGI to kind of de-age Anakin to a certain point, and then also
Yeah,
like
which I thought was necessary, but didn't. I don't think it looked the best either, but it was
yeah.
necessary, so I'm still cool with it.
Yeah, and then there it was all they were also like talking about like Anakin like still having his robot hand instead of his human hand, especially if he was already at since he's already dead. Like if he's already dead,
Oh well,
he should
he
already
has a
have
robot
his
hand right now, right? And
yeah,
what we saw.
and from
Well,
what
they
we
don't
saw,
get it because that's actually probably him from another point in time.
yeah,
It's not a ghost. It's probably actually him.
yeah. So like there was like those two. Like I know like a lot of like there was a lot of talks about, but for myself overall, I did enjoy it. I did like the whole saber fights that got into it.
Fuck yeah.
Very cool, very nice, and like how like we saw a little bit more of Balin's character of like him like talking with Ahsoka. I like that whole connect, that little talks that they had, and then they straight
Mm-hmm.
up went down to like the nitty gritty
Freaking
of the fight of them between the two. So that
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty
man.
good. I had a lot of enjoyment for this, but what about you? What did you like? Did you what's like what you like about it? What you didn't like about it?
Overall, kick
Yeah.
ass episode. First thing I want to highlight: the saber fights are fucking awesome. We were talking a little bit off air how some people aren't digging the lightsaber fights, and I think they're absolutely insane. And whatever they're smoking, they need to get off of it immediately because what? These fights are sick, man. Like they're not like we were discussing as well, Revenge of the Sith level, but they took months and months, damn near a year, preparing those fights as the
Yeah.
epic conclusion and the epic thing going on with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker for the whole thing going down, for the, Order 66 and shit. That was the whole thing. They didn't have that
Hmm.
much amount of time to prepare these fights, and it doesn't necessarily need to be that epic at the same time either. But it's
Yeah.
definitely very well done choreography, much better than what was going down in the sequel trilogy. Even though most of the fights were damn good, were really good, especially the Red Room scene in Last Jedi. I think that was one of the best fights in a long time. But
Mm.
overall, man, these fights right here were sick. I loved all the effects of like the hyperdrive ring and the space ring and all that shit,
Mm.
and the whole scene with Ahsoka fighting Balin, Lord Balin, played by the late great Ray Stevenson, who's absolutely killing it as this character and
Oh
is so
yeah.
captivating and compelling because you're not really quite sure if he's completely evil, good, where he really falls in the overall spectrum of the characters involved in this situation. So I really love that dynamic, and the whole conversation and fight between him and Ahsoka was so fucking awesome. I absolutely love that. I thought the interactions with Sabine and understanding her whole arc and her past history with Ezra through all 5 seasons, or 4 seasons, I should say, of Rebels, it does make sense to me why she would give the orb up, even though it is a little bit of a trope that we've seen before in a lot of different stories like this and stuff like that. But in general, for me, man, I really dug the episode. I do think there was a little bit of sloppy writing in there. We'll kind of get through that as well as we
Hmm.
kind of break down some of the individual plot points and elements there. But overall, I thought it was one of the stronger episodes of the season. Just a few moments there where I thought the writing was a little convenient or sloppy, but overall, I really dug this episode, and it all pretty much kicks off with their droid Ulang trying to fix the ship and everything because they're grounded and they're trying to get the hell out of there. Balin and his droid assassin people are hot on their tail trying to get at him, and then Ahsoka ends up having a conversation with Sabine. Speaking of Ezra, saying that we might have to ditch trying to find Ezra because the threat of Thrawn coming back, if we potentially do so and they're in the same place or whatever the case or whatever have or what have you, we need to stop the point of contact and the coordinates for them to be able to jump over there in the first place. We
Hmm.
need to cut off contact. So sometimes you have to give up what you want to do what's right. You know what I mean? And that whole conversation, the master apprentice thing going on, and you can tell in Sabine's face that she's not happy with that decision whatsoever, and doesn't agree, but doesn't want to necessarily argue with her in the moment. And that right there for me totally set up the whole decision that she makes later with the orb and giving that up and giving him that in order for them to dial in the coordinates to make that hyperspace jump. So for
Yeah.
me, that all played very well right there in the opening of the episode, man. And
Okay. Okay.
as we progress from there, they have their conversation, and then these droid foods show up and start trying to take on Ahsoka and them. And right before we get into that stuff, actually, we actually have a conversation with Hera getting ready to suit up and go out there because they're trying to get coordinates from where they are on Taloth, I think is the name of the planet, where Ulang and Ahsoka and Sabine are right now. They're trying to get contact to Hera. Hera's bringing Jason Sedula, her son, along so they can go rescue them and figure out what the hell's going on and stop this whole mission of trying to bring back the heir to the Empire. You see what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see what I did? Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. And
Hmm.
then Ahsoka and Sabine are out there running through the forest, doing their thing, fighting off these different droid assassin guys. And then as they progress from there, they end up getting down with that Inquisitor guy. And they end up slicing that motherfucker in half. So we find out the whole theory thing is debunked with him. He
Right.
is nobody. He is some kind of dead person that I think Morgan brought to life with her night sister
The Night Sister
Sith
magic.
magic.
Ah,
Weird
gotcha.
shit.
Yeah,
You know what I
it could
mean?
have
We're
been
getting
that.
Hogwarts up in this bitch. And then we have Shin getting down with Sabine with the, we got the orange red lightsaber versus the green going down. And Sabine's having a hard time really taking Shin on because she's a very formidable opponent. That is for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
And as that fight continues, Sabine ends up getting taken hostage, and Ahsoka goes up to go try to confront the Mister. She's not taken hostage yet, actually, but they end up getting separated, and then that's when Ahsoka finally comes into contact with Lord Balin, and they end up having their whole discussion about Ahsoka's past with Anakin Skywalker, and them kind of having their little standoff and showdown before they ultimately get into the badass fight that takes place in the overall place where they're kind of getting the old hyperspace jump ready. And I love those effects and the way that they just visualize that. Looked
Yeah.
really, really cool. I really, really dug that. And the overall, love seeing Ahsoka kind of emulate the fighting style of Anakin and Obi-Wan here very clearly. If you pay attention and have watched a lot of those fight scenes over the years, as someone our age has, growing up with the prequels. And then Ahsoka pulls up, and she ends up getting her hands on the orb, and she's threatening to shoot the orb and destroy it if Balin doesn't stop attacking Ahsoka. But he keeps attacking anyway, and then knocks her ass off the ledge, and we're like, oh shit, what happened to our girl Ahsoka?
Oh,
Uh
during
oh.
that, yeah, yeah, because like
Uh
she was
oh.
pretty much pit up against the corner because like
Yep.
before that she had like she stopped it or by grabbing it and they ended up burning
Yep.
her hand to the point because all that energy was going through. She ended up like was pretty much injured at that point trying to fight Balin with one hand, which he from like that fight prior he was like heavy
Already kind of in the
swinging.
lead.
Yeah, he was like heavy swinging. Like each hit had like that power, and then like you pretty much got pretty much pinned up to that corner
Gave
there.
me those Bane vibes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I was like, shit. So
Damn. Balin ain't playing, bro.
he
He ain't
ain't.
playing out here in these streets.
He
You know what I mean?
ain't.
Fuck around,
Yeah,
find out.
yeah. Like
That's how we do it.
fuck around,
Catch me
find out,
outside, you know what I'm saying?
get
You know what I'm
pushed off
saying?
get pushed off the fucking cliff.
Yeah, bro. Catch me outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But that's when
Fucking
yeah, that's when Sabine ended up being there. She ended up being there
pulls
at
up with
that
the
point.
orb like, give me that shit. I'm gonna blast this motherfucker. Back off, homie. And he's like, nah, don't worry about it.
No, I don't have to worry because
Just
like
give me the orb.
I felt
I'll
like
I'll connect you with Ezra. Don't worry about it.
yeah, I think at that point too, I think Balin's already knew he can manipulate her already at that point.
Exactly.
So that's why he's like, you know what, I'll
Exactly.
just get rid of Ahsoka because Ahsoka is like that reasonable voice for
Mm-hmm.
Sabine. The moment Sabine's Ahsoka's away, Sabine's all like pretty much free game because he is the
Exactly.
master. Because Balin's already like the master of the Jedi, or was
Master
master
of
of
the
the
rule of
Jedi.
two, baby. Gotta be a
Mm-hmm.
master manipulator.
Massive manipulator for sure. So he already knew he's like, I can easily just manipulate her to my advantage, and then bam, get her captive, and that's like a 2 for 1. So that's pretty
But
true.
will he keep his word truly? We're gonna have to
I
find out next week, y'all.
I think probably. I think maybe. I think I'll probably get to the point like Sabine might get captured, and then like she'll probably maybe Sabine might meet Thrawn like at some point because those two
Ooh, you think
he
we're gonna
already
see Thrawn next episode or what?
probably in like towards like the last
Ooh.
two. I think the last two. I think right. It's gonna be because they probably went to hyperspace. We don't know exactly where they're at and where Thrawn's at. We don't know where the fuck
True.
where everybody's at this point. So we probably won't see him maybe until like the last episode. Like it might be episode 7 at the ending of it, and then we will probably see a little bit of Thrawn in episode 8 possibly. So
Definitely.
I would say it'll probably be a while for Thrawn, but
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be to that point because Sabine can't really go anywhere because she's off to somewhere unknown. She doesn't know where the hell
Yep. Held
everything's
captive.
at.
Doesn't know where she's headed. She's on the road again.
Hmm.
Willie Nelson, baby. But the problem is Ahsoka's separated from her. Oolong cannot get any contact with them. The New Republic finally pulled up with Harrison Dula in the lead, and they can't stop anything from going down and prevent them from hyperspace jumping because they're already in the process of doing it and end up getting their ships damn near destroyed. One guy gets fucking vaporized damn near and ends up blowing up with his dumbass getting
Yeah.
in the way, and they end up making their jump to hyperspace anyways into the unknown regions. So Hera and them couldn't even prevent them from doing it, and then all hope is lost seemingly for the moment until we uh until we cut over to our girl Ahsoka, who wakes up in the world between worlds, man, talking to
Yeah.
none other than a de-aged Hayden Christensen in
Yeah.
costume
Yeah.
as Anakin Skywalker, of course. And although the visuals looked a little bit jarring because I don't think they looked the best, it
Yeah, it
was
looks
still
pretty
cool to
edgy.
see. And I can't wait to see what this is actually going to mean for this next episode. Are we going to jump back in time? Are we going to see some of the past? Are we going to see some of the future? Alternate realities. Yo, are we going to get full multiverse with this thing? There's a million possibilities with the overall cliffhanger ending they have here with this episode. And I absolutely loved it, man.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty
It's
interesting.
fucking awesome. Such a great way to end the episode. I really dug it. Man, this is a damn good episode, yo. I mean, if I had to give it a rating, I think I'd probably give it a strong 8 out of 10. That
Eight
was
out of
damn
10.
good. But I will say the Sabine stuff, a little tropey. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff like Hera and them getting in the way and almost getting vaporized and shit was a little silly. It's like, y'all should be very well versed in this stuff. You should know not to get in the way of a giant hyperspace jump through a hyperspace ring,
Yeah, but
you know?
I gotta, but I think at that point when they arrived there, I think they barely got the reads for it, right? So I think
Oh,
either way,
maybe they just
regardless,
they just jumped into a bad spot.
yeah, like they were
Maybe,
already.
yeah.
I think that it's like it seemed like they got there and they were heading over there, and then like by the time when Morgan kind of like says like, oh, somebody's already approaching us, she already gave everyone the goes like, all right, just hyperspace out of here. We got the
Fuck them, yeah.
Hornets, and then because like that's already the process they were doing, I think prior, and
Yeah, they were
then
calculating the
and then
coordinates and all that.
yeah, since they already got that, I could see them like just all right, let's just go into it, and then we don't have to worry about these people because we're already going to hyperspace. So I feel like it's like at that point it was already too like it was kind of too fast for them to like get out of the way
Sure.
regardless because like I think if even if they moved out of the way, they had like a lot of like that power ready for them to get out to the outer rim. Like I think that force regardless is gonna fuck around with them a little bit because it's such like a massive
Such a
distance that
massive
they're
amount
going.
of energy, I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess that's fair.
I think
But
I can definitely see that.
yeah.
But
But overall though, I thought the episode was freaking fantastic and I just can't wait to see where this is gonna lead for the next episode, man. I want that episode right now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I give it 8 out of 10, man.
I'll give it pretty much at that point too. Like this episode was a lot. I liked it a lot better than the previous one.
Huh?
It's like everybody was able to have like the time they needed to be on screen,
I
and it was
agree.
like it was straight to like pretty much like straight to the point of what was to be said and everything that was necessary for the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much did enjoy it. I think again, my question will be at this point for the future episodes is when Ahsoka, because we know Ahsoka isn't dead, but once when she gets
Mm-hmm.
back from the world between worlds, like will she finally go to Luke? Because at this point, she does need Luke to help her out. Because before, it was kind of like for my question was why didn't she bring Luke along and instead of Sabine? But
New phone, who this?
yeah, it's like kind of like that. It's like they obviously know each other already, and Ahsoka already knows where he's at. So I think at this point they kind of have to give some explanation of why Ahsoka didn't go to Luke at this point, and also to um, and also to yeah, just pretty much just to address that, just to pretty much address like why she didn't go to Luke at this point, and Luke now has to be moving forward to be part of like that whole be part of this whole thing to prevent to prevent the heir of Thrawn. But it's already late at this point because Morgan and everybody's already over there. Just got to find Thrawn, and then the whole plan goes into motion of going to create that that big bad empire again.
They
So
gonna break some shit tonight. Don't
yeah,
get crazy, man. But that's a very, very fair criticism, man. You mentioned that before we went live as well, and that's definitely true, man. Like they do gotta address Luke in some form or some capacity because he is the big bad MVP of the galaxy right now as the Jedi. He's the most publicly known Jedi, one of, if not the only publicly known Jedi at the moment in this current part of the timeline. So it
yeah,
definitely would make sense for him to want to get involved with something this massive, this big of a threat, the heir to the Empire. You know what I'm saying? And they've
yeah,
met, and he said, "Hey, get me him. Hey, hit a brother up if you need. I'm
yeah,
always here to
yeah.
kick some ace, and take some names, man." So we definitely should hear from Luke sooner rather than later. I think before the series is over, but only time will tell. We want to hear from y'all. Drop your thoughts down below and let us know what you thought about this episode. We always love discussing it with you. We're going to have these on the channel every single Wednesday, so make sure you don't tune in anywhere else before you do. Here, watch it in Tuesday evening and treat us as your after show Wednesday morning before you go to work. Get your coffee on, get your thing going while you're doing your workout, you're walking your dog. Make sure you're getting it in, man. It's Fandom Frequency. We love you. We appreciate each and every one of you checking this episode out. And with no further ado, we're going to be taking off. So, for my man Skips, for myself, thanks for checking us out. Stay tuned. Don't sleep. Much love. Peace out.